Yo, it's your boy Punch. Welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to be feeding my batch of newborn guppies, alright? These guppies were literally just born yesterday morning. It's insane. These guys are so adorable. I got a couple in here right next to my head, right in this little breeder box. I rescued them from this tank with all the adults in there because if you didn't know, guppies are cannibals. These are actually my Japanese blue gold Endler guppies, so these are actually maybe even a little bit tinier than your average guppy. And the babies are so adorable. So what I do to feed them is I like to feed them a little variety of food, different sizes, just different types, just to make sure that everyone gets a chance to eat. Alright, I got a couple in here that need the little extra bit of help. Alright, so first off, what I like to feed, the most generic food is fish flakes. Alright, pretty much everyone knows about fish flakes. They're really awesome. I got these really nice bug bite ones, so just for the guppy fry, because I know that bug bites is pretty quality. I love bug bites, so I'll go grab some of that and sprinkle it in the top. Alright, I'll show you exactly how I do it. So these are the flakes I'm going to be using. These are the bug bites. You can see exactly what they look like. They're just a nice shade of brown, okay? Very nice, and they smell like fish food. Who would have thought? But what I just do is I take just a tiny little bit, tiny little bit, try and get it in a good position in the fingers so you can crush it up as absolutely fine as possible, and it's really so simple. You just sprinkle it in the top. All the guppies like to hang out right here at the back where the flow is, so that's exactly where I'm feeding them mostly. And I'm just sprinkling it as tiny as I absolutely can make it, right at the surface. All around. Maybe just a tad bit more. Okay, so this should stave them off until I can get their other foods prepared, which are a little bit more exciting than this. They're actually live food, so we'll be live feeding these baby guppies, and you got to see them eat, alright, because they really go after the live foods. They love it, but the flakes are good. It's a whole balanced diet right in just a little flake. It's so simple, so easy, and if you're running out of time, try and sprinkle them a little bit of flakes, and at least they have a little bit of options on something to eat. Alright, so next is microworms, the first live food that we'll be feeding. You can see this literally had nothing in it literally yesterday. This had nothing on the sides, but you can see that this is all of these little bits here. That is all worms. Maybe I'll hold it really still, maybe you can see it. Can you see any of those worms moving? It's freaky. So this is just in a little bit of oatmeal and a bit of yeast on the top. It has a bunch of holes poked in the top. I put it on the top of my shelf so it's the hottest in the fish room, okay? I got a nice heater here. It heats the entire room. Make sure the temperature stays around 80. All the temperatures in the unheated tanks are around 80 in this room, and the heated tanks are pushed up to maybe a little bit around 84 to 86. But check this out. That is an insane amount of worms. I love to see that, alright, and the guppies are obsessed with this. So this is also very simple. I'm just going to go and scoop out a little bit with my finger, and then I'll show you the guppies. Hopefully they'll eat some of these. Wow, look at that big clump there. We'll go for that big clump right there in the middle. Let me see. Whoa, boom. So I got a whole bunch on my finger. Ooh, this culture, dude. It has a little bit of a sour smell, like a little bit of a... There's like a big worm. Do you see that big worm? It's crawling. Dude, that's... Oh! Is that like a fly? That's creepy. And also, like, the entire surface of this, the literal entire surface of this is like teeming. It's teeming with worms. Ooh, it's a little bit freaky. It's a little bit freaky. Alright, so I'm going to put this away before I get too freaked out. And I'm going to feed the little worms I have in my hand. Let's get them off of my hand. Yes. Get that to go everywhere. Literally all the guppies stay right next to the flow. So I'm going to pop you off the frame and I'll show you what the guppies are doing, and hopefully they'll eat a couple of microworms so you can check them out. Alright, so here is the breeder box, and you can see right away there's a beautiful little guppy. Oh, look at them! So we got 3 that are doing super good and 3 that are doing not so good. A couple of them are staying at the bottom. You can also see maybe a little bit of the microworms showering down, and they're just eating them, alright? It's so cool to see. They really love the microworms, but the next food they love even more by far. The next food is actually aquarium gold. Like, it's such a valuable resource. Okay, so the next food I like to feed my baby guppies is some brine shrimp. This is the most important food, the main course, all right? These are just little sea monkeys. I can even just pop it out right like that. Check it out. We'd love to see it. It's nice Cheeto dust type color, and I'll show you exactly how I collected them in my little DIY hatchery right now, so check that out. Alright, so here is the brine shrimp hatchery. Check it out. It's just a little bit of a bottle action here. Got a whole bunch of little baby brine shrimp hatched out in around a little over 24 hours for me. And I'm about to release them and put them into this net just to rinse off all the salt water. Hold on, here comes the flow of brine shrimp. Oh, you can see it coming along in the tube. Let's get this going. All right, whoa, look at that. That is very, very nice and orange colored. Check that out. So it's just going to be strained through this very, very fine strainer, because these little guys are very tiny. These are sea monkeys as well. Another name for them, a sea monkey. Yes, the poor sea monkeys are being fed to our other little fish. All part of the circle of life. So yeah, that's pretty much how I collect it. See right in there. Whoa, look at that. That's pretty cool, I gotta say. It looks a bit like Cheeto powder. This is the special Cheeto powder for baby fish that makes them grow up super big, strong, and healthy. So it's a very important Cheeto powder. I'm just going to rinse it off a little bit more because it's salt water, so, you know, guppies can tolerate salt, but not that much. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty simple. I can do a little bit more detail later, but let's feed the guppies. I'm so excited. I'm just going to grab some with my finger again. Check it out. Just a whole bunch on there. And I'm just going to swirl it around in the breeder box, just as I usually do. Ooh, there we go. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right, I'll pop you off the frame so we can check them out a little bit closer up. Okay, all right, so we got one right at the top. Whoa, they're going a little bit crazy. I think that's a good thing. Ooh, okay, so we got one down here as well. Check out the little cuties. Oh yes, you can see all the little brine shrimp coming down. They're getting super excited. This is so nice. And once they eat a whole bunch of them, all their little bellies will be full and bright orange. Full of little baby brine shrimp, and it's super satisfying to see. This is really excellent. Another nice update on these baby guppies. I've seen them pooping. All three of the ones that are up and about, I've seen them poop, which is kind of nice to see. Of course, it means that something at least is going through them. Check these guys out though. They're so adorable. Okay, so that was when I'm feeding my baby guppies. You can see I feed them the nice flakes, super quick and easy, whole balanced diet. Some microworms are going absolutely crazy bananas, such a big population in there. And then the brine shrimp, the holy Cheeto dust, all right? The number one thing that's going to grow all the fish in the fish room, the brine shrimp. They're loving it, and I'm super excited to watch these guys grow and develop. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe down below, all right? With all that being said, punch out.